Chapter 32. Butcher. John Hamman, 14. Encino, Texas, 1984. The surprisingly heavy package was delivered by FedEx. Jenny's parents had to sign for it. They were getting used to this, which meant they made her open it in front of them so they could see what was sent this year. Inside was a heavy, rolled bundle. Jenny stared at it, confused. Untying the strap around it, she unrolled the bundle on the dining room table to find something straight out of a serial killer's Christmas list. It was every possible type of knife and edged weapon imaginable. There were psycho knives, Friday the 13th knives, little knives, and even a cleaver out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All of them were made from gleaming stainless steel. Even the handles were steel. They were beautiful. This was going to be the best year ever. Her mother stormed off. As she went, Jenny heard her say,
"Enough is enough."
While they were distracted, Jenny carried her newest toys out into the backyard. If she was going to learn to be a ninja this year, she'd better get started. She unrolled the holder on the ground, took out the coolest one she could find, and struck a ninja pose before throwing it at the largest tree. She missed. This was going to take some work. And where was the sword? She had all the knives she could ever want, but no throwing stars or a proper sword. She wanted a pair of sickles or the scythe the scary guy used in the Octagon. Chuck Norris was so cool. He could throw little daggers and take bad guys out just like that. Jenny picked out another knife. This time, it hit the tree, handle first, and bounced back. She had to jump out of the way. Practice. She had to practice to be ready for this summer. Jenny was waiting by the door, watching through the peephole as Mr. Brown approached. She was dressed in her ninja uniform. Well, she was dressed in a black hoodie with the neck of her black turtleneck pulled up over her mouth, and black sweats and shoes. She yanked the door open, taking Mr. Brown by surprise with her best ninja war cry as she struck her ninja stance. His face was complete confusion as Jenny caught him completely off guard. She did the ninja quick draw, pulling the smallest knife from the sheath on her forearm that she made out of duct tape and cardboard as she brandished it before him with another cry.
"Are you ready to go?"
Mr. Brown asked as he looked down, baffled by what he was seeing.
"Yes, I am ready,"
Jenny exclaimed as she came to the ninja stand at attention position.
"Good,"
he stated simply as he turned away and walked back to the car. Mr. Brown could ruin any mood. The weapon pack was already slung across Jenny's back, but as she exited, she reached behind the door and picked up the very non-ninja pink suitcase her mother bought for her and trudged after him. It was a long drive from the airport. They went straight to the house that Mr. Brown had rented them rooms in. The woman greeted them in a southern Texas drawl. She called Jenny precious. She even pinched her cheeks. Jenny didn't see any ninjas. Jenny looked up at the sign that read Joe Bob's Wild Game Processing and Barbecue. It could be a front for an underground ninja training camp, but she was losing hope. A bell hanging above the door frame rang as they walked in. Along the wall were counters with cuts of meat under glass. In the middle of the room was a big display of breads and sausage. The walls all around were covered with trophy heads. Jenny had never seen so many different types of animals. The man who came through the back door was not a ninja. He was fat. She had seen larger people on TV, on That's Incredible, but not in person.
"So, this is the little lady?"
He came around the counter and bent over so they were face to face.
"You are the one who wants to be a butcher?"
Jenny turned and looked up at Mr. Brown. She felt betrayed.
"Come on back here, and I'll show you around.
Joe Bob looked at Jenny's knives one by one as he examined them, fingering the edges and looking at the point of the one that had a broken tip. She felt the need to explain.
That one broke when it bounced off the tree and hit a rock.
One eyebrow rose all the way to his hairline. Without saying a word, he went across the room and came back with a wet stone.
You have a lot of work to do, little lady,
Joe Bob announced as he motioned for her to sit on a stool in front of the wet stone. The wild pig smelled. It hung by its rear legs from the hook on the ceiling. Jenny had washed it, so how could it smell so bad? She didn't think it could get worse until she opened the body cavity and the viscera spilled into the bin waiting underneath. Oh no, she couldn't help it. She vomited into the bin full of entrails.
You need to hurry up with the eviscerations. We have 12 more to clean. Then we'll start on the primal cuts.
Joe Bob laughed as Jenny dry heaved. Asshole, new worst year ever. She was not allowed to come into the house after work each day. It had become a routine. She held her arms out straight as Mr. Brown sprayed her with the hose. The water ran red and a few other colors off her apron. He left Jenny alone, with a stack of clean clothes on the porch to change into before she could come into the house for dinner. All her work clothes went into a bucket to be carried to the washing machine. The exsanguinated carcass of the ibex hung head down over a tub full of blood. Jenny ran her hand over its long, curving horns. It was a beautiful specimen, a fully grown male with the largest horns she had ever seen. It was a shame the man had shot it broadside through the abdomen. The exit wound on the far side looked like a bomb had blown out the side of the animal. What size gun had the man used? They would have to be careful stitching the skin back together to prepare it for mounting.
They're assholes, but the rich ones.
Joe Bob laughed.
Can't stand them myself, but that's why I charge them twice what normal folks pay. They're all Yankees anyway. They got plenty of that East Coast money.
He laughed again.
Do you know one of them wanted me to stuff his fancy deer and make it stand on its hind legs, growling like a bear?
More laughter.
I charged him triple. So, you see here? We're going to cut from one leg all the way across to the other, like the inseam on your trousers, or your, women pants. Now watch here, and we'll pull the skin off like a sock.
Robert Brown contemplated his fate and the events that had led him here. He had never seen so much grease in his life. He was still trying to find a menu item that they did not fry. The bread seemed to be the only thing in the restaurant they did not cook in bacon grease. He could feel his arteries clogging even as he sat at the table. A disturbing rumbling emanated from his stomach as it tried to digest what he had eaten.
Can I get you anything else, sweetie?
The waitress looked down at him with a broad smile, revealing only 5 teeth. It was disturbing. The amount of makeup she wore did not conceal her advancing age. Frighteningly, she seemed to be wearing more makeup as his stay in this town progressed. He tried to convince himself that she was not flirting with him. That thought was too distressing. He went out of his way to be as polite and formal with her as possible, but she seemed to take this as some kind of courting. She spent far more time lavishing her attention on him than the other customers. The glares from them were getting uncomfortable. As she smiled down on him, he was watching a 250-pound bearded man in overalls stare daggers at him. He did not fit in well here. He was very aware that he was the only person in the town who seemed to wear button-down dress shirts and slacks. He had removed his tie, Maybe he should get one of those baseball caps, maybe one with a tractor on it.
No, I think I've had enough for now. Is there...
She looked down at him with a sense of excitement. The mood from the rest of the room darkened even further.
Do you serve any food that you do not cook on your grill?
She looked confused and had to stop and think for a bit.
I could bring you some grits. Would you like that, honey bun?
He looked up at her in confusion.
What are grits?